Good afternoon and welcome back to West Ham Irons United for your first West Ham Daily of the week. Thank you very much to Russ from My Hams 11 for passing on that West Ham, show-to-show friendship that we have. So thank you very much, Russ. Make sure you go across to My Hams 11 and check out Russ's stuff. He's got loads of cool interviews coming up. Just recently had Scott Minto and he's been talking about some of the future ones he's got coming up, and hopefully you might see that, man. Carlton Cole, always believe in your soul. So make sure you go and check out his channel. Thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you are new here. Also hit the thumbs up and of course leave us some comments. And it's another interesting week in the West Ham world, isn't it? It's an absolutely crazy time and we've got a crazy end to the season. And now that West Ham only have 5 cup finals left to gain that Champions League dream. Yes, we are still up there at this stage of the season. And yes, we deserve every bit of success we have had this season. But not only did Chelsea scrap their way to a victory at the weekend, but they did so by opening up a 3-point gap on West Ham in the table. But it leaves West Ham nervously looking over our shoulders at the chasing pack of Liverpool, Spurs and Everton, who are also in the race for Europe. Chelsea's next month, though, is the most pivotal part of their season thus far, with their high-stakes Champions League two-legged semi-final against Real Madrid to come. And I'm going to put the fixtures up for you to have a look at it. And they've got league games against Manchester City, Arsenal and Leicester, and of course an FA Cup final against Leicester City as well. It's no mean feat with the fixtures that they have. West Ham, meanwhile, let's have a look at our remaining fixtures, face a far easier run on paper, with no cup competitions to distract us. However, our injury-ravaged squad appears dangerously short of cover, and of course, with the news that Balbuena will now be out, having little or no defensive cover to speak of, although that will depend on whether or not the card is rescinded, whether or not West Ham take it to the FA to get it challenged, which I believe they will, because it's a farcical decision. I mean, you can totally see here he's got no interest in the player, he's concentrating on the ball, and there's no other way or place that his foot can go. So, yeah, fingers crossed we can get that changed, and we will obviously progress hopefully with Dawson and hopefully Balbuena in our ranks as well. But what I want to do today is also talk to you about the European slots, and there's loads of information going out there just now, but things are changing as they go along. So for example, we had the League Cup final yesterday, which involved Man City and you-know-who, Spurs, who again didn't win the trophy, and that's changing up the whole dynamics of the European spots and potentially what's available. So let me talk you through very briefly, and then we'll go into the chat and say hi to everyone as well. So it's now confirmed that 7 English teams will be playing in Europe next season, but how does the sides qualify for the Champions League, the Europa League, and get that image put up for you just now, the Europa League, and the new Europa Conference League, which is designed for this up-and-coming season. And what happens if the cup winners finish in the top 4 of the Premier League? So let's take a look. The European Super League, which has been quashed, but the race is very much on to qualify for the Champions League, Europa League, or the new Europa Conference League. And here's how qualification works, and why the Champions League, Europa League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup winners make a difference to those chasing qualifications through the Premier League. And it gets a little bit complicated, but keep in mind the maximum number of English teams in UEFA competitions will be 7. So Champions League qualification. The top 4 teams in the Premier League qualify for the group stages of the Champions League. Winning the Champions League or Europa League also guarantees a place in the group stages. So up to 5 English teams can qualify for the Champions League through these 2 methods. Sometimes 4th place may not qualify for the Champions League place. There's only one scenario that could play out and mean that the 4th placed finisher misses out on the Champions League football. It could occur if Chelsea finish outside of the top 4 and win the Champions League, and Arsenal finish outside of the top 4 and win the Europa League. UEFA regulations were updated in 2013 to state that no more than 5 teams from the same league can compete in European Premier competition. And this is a scenario preference would be given to the winners of the major competitions rather than the 4th place team, who would then qualify for the Europa League instead. There are 2 Europa League spots available to English clubs. One goes to the team which finishes 5th in the Premier League, and the second goes to the side which wins the FA Cup. As well as the Champions League and the Europa League, the Europa Conference League launches this season, as I've said. So the idea behind the Europa Conference League is to give more clubs a taste of European football, particularly sides from countries which struggle to qualify for the other 2 UEFA competitions. But there's a spot up for grabs for English clubs too. The winner of the Carabao Cup was guaranteed to qualify for the Conference League playoff round. But after Man City, as I've spoke to you about, lifted the trophy for a 4th consecutive season, having already secured a place in the Champions League qualifying spot, their place in the Europa Conference League will be passed on to the next highest ranked Premier League side, which is not qualified for UEFA competition. Meanwhile, Chelsea face Leicester in the FA Cup final, and both of the sides currently sit in the top 4 of the Premier League. Now, we're talking about current statistics and where we are. And if they stay there, they will qualify for the Champions League, meaning the Europa League qualifying spot for winning the FA Cup will be passed on to the next highest ranked Premier League side, which is not qualified for the UEFA competition. Provided Chelsea and Leicester remain in the top 5, or Chelsea side go on to lift the Champions League, the Premier League's 7th place team will qualify for Europa Conference League next season. So we've got the league table. West Ham currently sitting 5th. We've got 5 cup finals to go for that European spot. What is the European spot you want? Let's be brutally honest. I'm desperate for the Champions League. It's what it's all about for me, to be honest. Is it comparable to West Ham even winning the Cup Winners' Cup, qualifying for the most anticipated European Cup competition out there? And for me, that is the cup competition we need to go for. I know I just witnessed, and we were just listening to Russ's My Hammer's 11 show, and he was talking about, the benefits of qualifying for the Europa Conference League. And I get that. And listen, I'll be honest with you. I fear qualifying for the Europa League and Europa Conference League, even though I want us to. I fear for it more because there's a lot more games. They start a lot more earlier. And we have a thin enough squad as it is. Now, I know we've got young players coming through in the academy, and I get we have to bleed these young players through on the academy into the first team. But sometimes yourself that doesn't work in that manner, and sometimes that leaves these players out to dry. I always go back to the scenario when Sam Allardyce played all the youth players in the FA Cup against Nottingham Forest, and we got absolutely smashed, and all it did was throw those players under the bus. And that's my biggest concern is, if we do qualify for the likes of the Europa League or the Conference League, we're definitely going to need to add more players into our squad. We're going to need to add more players into our squad, even if we don't qualify for Europe of any occasion, let alone qualifying for the Champions League. However, the Champions League is a whole new ballgame. The money is 4 or 5 times more than what it is for the Europa League. You can attract a better type of player if you do qualify for the Champions League. And I understand people say, do you really want to be the whipping boys of that competition? I tell you what, I wouldn't happily be the whipping boys. I just want us to qualify for the highest level of competition. And those players' mentalities will be aiming for that competition. They 100% will be only aiming for, we are Champions League or nothing. Like, it's not nothing, but that is what they want, Sorry, I'm just fixing my camera. I don't know why it's jumped off me there, but it's come back on now. So there we go. And yeah, it's going to be the Champions League. Who wouldn't want the Champions League as fans? Who wouldn't want the Champions League? And again, I understand the sentiment behind playing in the other cup competitions and giving these players an opportunity. But really, West Ham, this is the year that we can progress. This is it. And it's also depending on where we finish this year and how we react in the summer and what we do moving on with the next season, into the next window, January window, into the next summer window, and we can actually start to see the progression of West Ham. This is our opportunity, and we need to grab it with two hands. And I'm just going to bring you up there. You can see from the remaining fixtures of all the clubs of what they've got. I'm going to bring up Leicester's remaining fixtures. They've got Southampton away, Newcastle at home, Manchester United away, Chelsea away, and Tottenham at home. You know, they've got tough games, but on the back of that, they've got an FA Cup final against Chelsea to think about as well. So there's still opportunities there. And of course, we know that these clubs are going to be fighting out to try and qualify for the Champions League. But, you know, silverware and all that to contend with, and with all the problems that Leicester have had recently with their players breaking COVID rules, etc., it's definitely going to open it all up. Chelsea's remaining fixtures, I mean, this is pretty manic. You know, Fulham, then they've got Man City, Arsenal, Leicester, and Aston Villa. They've also got the Champions League two-legged semi-final versus Real Madrid, and then an FA Cup final against Leicester. So they've got 8 games to play in the month of May, compared to West Ham's fixtures, which, like I said, on paper is Burnley, Everton, Brighton and Hove Albion, West Bromwich Albion and Southampton. And all games are really tough. It doesn't matter what you say, but we're talking about on paper here. And, you know, you could question and say Everton's going to be the toughest game out of that lot, but let's not kid ourselves. Brighton and Hove Albion, I don't even know if we've beaten them in the Premier League since they've joined, so we can't get ahead of ourselves. Absolutely not. So what's your thoughts on what I've said? I've given you a brief explainer on all the European Cup competitions. Get your comments in and let me know your thoughts on it. You know, are you of the mindset that if we do finish in 7th place and the Europa Conference League is there, do you want that? Do you want that opportunity? Will it be good for West Ham? Would it be good for our academy? Would it be good for the younger players? Get your comments in. Let's go and jump into the comments and see what everyone is saying. Ironclad, I know you were in earlier on and you were saying that you were talking about a game you had at the weekend. If you think our ref was bad, you should have seen this trainee one of our under-9s game. I mean, listen, that was an absolute disgrace in my opinion. We'd done the match day live, and I'm going to apologise to you for you know, for the last 10-15 minutes. I think myself, Stel and Matt were just absolutely flabbergasted what happened and deflated from that decision. And I'm not trying to say that one decision was a be all and end all as to why we lost the game, but I tell you what, it was really far up there for one of the reasons why we couldn't progress and move forward. It had to change our whole formation. It had to change everything doing forward. I'm really struggling to find any other scenario or set of play or sending off or something similar to that, what happened to Fabian Balbuena. And you can't help but think, and I know I'm just whatever, but you can't help but think that there's an agenda against the clubs. Like, do you really want West Ham to qualify? Father Snowman, thank you very much for joining us. The question I would ask is, when we are close to getting a European place, why does the standard of refs drop to an unacceptable level? Is it the top 6 syndrome? I don't know, mate. I said all along when VAR came in that I do think the referees, I'm not sticking up for the referees here, but I think they are fearful of their jobs, and they always have the element of looking over their shoulder, thinking someone's going to correct me and do something wrong. And the mentality of the referee, for example, the one at the weekend against West Ham, when he went over to that camera and looked at that, it's not even about the slow motion. It's about his questioning his mindset. What's he looking for? For me, he wasn't looking for a reason not to send the player off. He was looking for a reason to send the player off. And I think that's the problem. And I think the first and foremost is, you know, context. He has the ball. He goes to clear it. His left foot's off the ground. His right foot, his eyes. Where's the eyes? Where's his contact? He's looking at the ball. He clears the ball and he's looking up the line. He doesn't even know Chilwell was there. And Chilwell comes in and his foot gets caught in. His calf gets caught by Balbuena's foot. And then, like we all know, without me repeating it, it goes on 2 minutes later when Soufal does the exact same thing. And the referee doesn't even look at it. And there's no consistency there. And the referees are panicking. And straight after that, the referee went yellow card happy. He just started bringing the yellow cards out. Bang, 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 bang. And it was as a bit like he was trying to rub over that area and not think about that scenario and try and cover it up slightly. And that's the part that just gets to me. So, yeah, we'll see. Toby Sampson, not that refereeing was awful. Much as the refereeing was awful, we didn't do enough on Saturday. We didn't, but, you know, I thought we were okay. We weren't amazing, but we were okay. Even everyone from Brisbane, Australia, thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Mark Davis, we need a striker. Yeah, well, do you know what? Yeah, we do. Of course we do. However, if you go back to January when we signed Lingard, you name me another striker that's got remotely amount of goals and assists that even remotely match up to what Jesse Lingard has done. So, sometimes it gets a little bit, I'm not saying it's from you, it gets a little bit boring. And I want West Ham to have strikers. We need strikers. We need players in our squad. However, if you were saying to me, and I was the advocate for West Ham signing Josh King at the time, and when Jesse Lingard came in, I was okay about it because, in actual fact, I'd said it a while ago. I'd said it years ago. I was like, why don't someone take a punt on Jesse Lingard? Because he's young enough to get the best out of him. And if there's one manager that can do it, it'd be David Moyes. And he's done it, and he's proven the fact that he can do it. But you know what? We can't ever remotely question sometimes what David Moyes' decisions are, because since he's come back to the club and since before Project Restart, things have changed dramatically. And now we're consistently performing. We're not just consistently performing for one, we're doing it on a regular occasion. It's happening a lot. Stu77, thank you very much for joining us, mate. Gary Rutter, thank you. I'm well. Hope you are as well. Peach and Peach, hope you're well, mate. Thank you. Tony, toothless on Saturday. Moyes should have made the changes after 60 minutes. May as well try to win, draw, and lose 2 or 3-0. Goal difference will not be a factor at the end of the season. I think his substitutions should have changed a bit earlier. I know we've said it all season, and sometimes he does it and sometimes he doesn't. I think the game needed some changes, and I think there's a conversation to be had about certain players in the team as well. And I'm not going to be able to do the daily tomorrow. I think Stell's doing the daily tomorrow, so I can only assume he's also doing his West Ham Weekly tonight, and I can only assume there's going to be some topics on specific players in that team who maybe came off the bench. So obviously keep an eye on that. I was going to do that today, but I thought, with the European spots changed, maybe people would like to know how you can and who can qualify, etc. Cyber Leader, Dalek, hope you're well, mate. Joan, thank you very much for joining us. Sabina, thank you again. Hope you're well. It's good to see you all. Gary Rutter, anything can happen in these next 5 fixtures. Hard, but we're still in with a shout. And do you know what? You're right, mate. 1 minute it's in our hands, the next minute it's not out of our hands. And that's how the season's probably going to keep going. It's now in Chelsea's hands, but will it come out of Chelsea's hands and go into someone else's hands? And like I said earlier on, we're looking over our shoulders at all the other clubs kicking about there. It's so tight. And it can just change again next weekend. Those fixtures are still a worry. But then, Mark, what fixtures aren't a worry? If I'm being brutally honest, I don't think the league is like that anymore. You come up against the likes of Leicester, like we have done this season, got the double over Leicester. And normally you'd look at that fixture and go, what's going on? I don't really want to face them. But West Ham have went and got the double over Leicester and double over Wolves. 2 teams that I would have feared at the start of the season. And I would never have thought we'd have walked away with 12 points, and we've walked away with the 12 points. Seismon Garner, hi John, hope you're well. GP, hi all. We're still GP. Don't worry, he's coming to you. Tune in tonight. You'll get 4 hours of him when you watch it. Yes, he is still painting. Hope you are all well. They call me sir. Morning from 6:20 a.m. here. Where are you, mate? Let us know. David Brady out. Hope you're well. I am in the background listening to Anton making a complete mess of explaining European qualifications to you. Tune in tonight and I'll explain it properly. Well, I've actually explained it to you properly. So what have I done that's wrong with the competition? I've actually explained it all correctly. Get on with your painting style. Stop spying on the competition. The thing is, do you know what? Seisman, you've nailed it on the head. He treats it like a competition, whether we're together, and he doesn't look at it like that. It's all about him. It's all about you. Mum and Dad are arguing again. Honestly, Toby, if only you knew half of it. Still, I'm sure you can paint a better picture later. Of course you can. Of course you can. Painting done, Paul. I just wish Anton would nick my scripts. Oh, my word. Oh, he's just away with the fairies. Let's see what everyone else is saying. Yes, still, we've got a few more hours to prep your show. You do, mate. You absolutely do. There's so many comments. I'm just struggling to find them. It's just jumping all over the shop. I think. Where are we? Keep your comments coming in just now. Oh my words. Glenn Marshall, would be amazing if we made Champions League and Arsenal and Spurs don't, and it could happen. It absolutely could happen. Everyone's expecting you to be late, and of course they are. let's see what Toby's saying. Is there any one of us that would have turned down any type of European football after the first game of the season? I'm just chuffed we can even discuss the Champions League. Toby, you've hit the nail on the head. I am as well. However, I've always had a concern about league, Europa League. I want any form of European competition, but my biggest concern would be squad depth and being able to handle the amount of games. And we need to bring in not just numbers, it's all about quality over quantity, and that's really what's key in this occasion. We've done it once before and we've brought in a lot of quantity players, but they weren't the right players to bring in. So that's where we have to put the faith in what David Moyes is doing, 100%. Dad, I should say, hope you're well. Joan agreed we need a lot more players. It may damage our league form, but I don't want to be pessimistic. 100%. Tony, Champions League is the holy grail for us, but I'll take any European qualification this season. The only big letdown would be not to qualify for anything. Absolutely, Tony, but it would be the holy grail, to be honest. And because we're within a hop, skip, and a jump away from potentially getting it, then yeah, you're right, mate. You're absolutely right. Give us European. That's what Dad says. Afternoon, King Stelios. Hope the neighbours aren't giving you too much grief about Saturday. Glenn Marshall, most bad tackles that all players surround the incident. No reaction from any Chelsea players. It's because they looked in shock when he got sent off, if I'm being brutally honest. Jim, I couldn't agree more. Mate, I'll take Europa Conference if we had to, and I'll be well excited. And I would be, and I will be. When I say I'm concerned, listen, if we're playing in any form of European competition, I'll be absolutely buzzing. I just want West Ham to bring in quality players to be able to handle it. Joan, hopefully the red card will be rescinded. Still, yep. Almost smashed the laptop. Absolutely, I was all the same. It was an absolute joke. I've never seen a decision. Genuinely not seen a decision like it. I spoke to my mate, who's a neutral fan, and he's an ex-pro footballer, and the first comment he said was, and the first comment I think we said was, the referee's never played football. He blatantly had never played football, because that was a simple solution to that. Ask yourself the question, what could a Balbuena done? No dangerous play. It was just the fact that, simple, like if I score a goal and I'm celebrating and I put my fist up to celebrate, but then you jump up and put your head in my fist area, then it's just a natural reaction. It's just absolutely, it's a joke. It's absolutely a joke. You're all talking to each other, which is really good. So true, Anton. I'm not too sure which one that was. Gary Rutter, we need 2 strikers. I do agree with you, actually. I do think we do need 2 strikers, because if we do play in any form of European competition, then we're going to need as many bodies as we can get. Sesman, Europlace for us would stretch an already threadbare squad. Very dangerous for our league progress next season. Okay, qualify for Champions League, take the money and run. The but to that is, though, about the recruitment and what we can bring in and maximising the youth as well as we possibly can. For me, the Holy Grail, Champions League, that's what we need to get. Europa League, absolutely. All of Europe, yes. Just West Ham need to step up to be able to deal with that, because then we'll have the Europa League, or whatever the European Cup competition is, the League Cup and the FA Cup. So there's going to be plenty more from that to come. I would prefer any European football next season. Prefer Champions League, but happy to be in any European competition. Robert Singleton, don't mind West Ham dipping their toes into Europe. Absolutely. And still saying, we just hope Arsenal don't win the Europa League, or they'll take a Champions League spot. Joan, it ruined the weekend. I'm glad we're not playing until Monday. More time to get players back too. It does, absolutely, and it did really ruin the weekend. I was really peeved off. I was really, really angry, and I had to be very mindful of the fact that we're doing a stream, and you don't want to be sitting on there and effing and blinding left, right, and centre, because you just have to be really careful what you say. But I could have lost the absolute plot. I genuinely did. I was so angry, and I think it was a continuation from the whole week before about the European Super League. Toby, I think on behalf of the younger fans that I still just about fit into, the only European football I can remember clearly is getting spanked by Palermo and Tevez missing from 4 yards. Yeah. Don't remind us, mate. Don't remind us. Claret Newham, all the decisions go against us whenever we can go fourth. It's clear Premier League and UEFA want only the greedy 6 in Europe. You can't help but think there's a bit of favouritism towards them. Of course you do, when you're on the wrong side of decisions, that we have been as of late, and you always feel like all these clubs are. It shows as they still haven't and won't deduct points from the Big 6 due to the Super League, yet other clubs like Wednesday and many other get deducted points due to administration. You have hit hit the nail on the head. It's an absolute disaster if they don't come away with a points deduction from this, when other clubs, by no means of the fans' fault, have been deducted points. Just hope we can get some bodies back for the Burnley game. Yep. Still, again, promoting the show. Make sure you tune in tonight. I'm not sure what time he'll go on at. He probably says 8, but then he'll change it as we goes along. But please make sure you tune in for his West Ham Weekly every Monday. Toby Sampson, the task now is to do a Leicester and establish ourselves up there, not to do a Wolves and falter. And that's the thing about what happened with Wolves last season, is they didn't prepare for the Europa League for this season, and it's had a massive knock-on effect onto their Premier League season. And this is the difference in what we need to make sure we don't do. Listen, let's remember, we've done it ourselves before when we played Astra Gugu and we didn't qualify for the competition, but it just set us off in the wrong tone for the rest of the year and the rest of the season, and it had a negative effect. So, yeah, so many comments again. I'm just trying to find them. Oh, my word, where are they? We will get Champions League. Have faith. I've got the faith, mate. I have got the faith, and this is what we need to do. It's, they say fate's not in our hands anymore, but it kind of still is. We've got 5 games. They've got 8 games. Chelsea, Leicester have 6 games to play, including the FA Cup final. So there's still opportunity. Duzzy O'Dear, thank you very much for joining us. Chelsea mentality, and yeah, it is so. Any fish? How was the trip home in the recovery? Don't know what's going on there. Europe Conference, the Cult Football Lovers Trophy. You get a vibe that it's a little bit like the Intertoto Cup, but it's not. I know they're not, but it's got that vibe. But I caught a couple of Flanders, a couple of 10. What happened? Did something happen? Just let us know, mate. Still, I bet you have a tear in your eye when you see Anton again from a home game. Happy tear. 100. Joan, do you know what? He will, mate. He will, Joan. He will. He's obsessed. And he misses me desperately, and he can't wait for me to come down to a game. Or he especially can't wait for the fact that I buy him drinks and he doesn't buy me one back. However, I don't moan about that. How close are player to come back? Rice Chris and Masuaku. Check out tonight, because still we're giving you an update on injuries on the West Ham Weekly. But we do have till the following Monday for the game, so we've got a full 7 days to go still before we play our next game. So that'll be interesting. Dad, don't know why you're talking about them, so I'm not going to bring that one up. Glenn, Champions League finished 3rd in the group and the Europa League, so win-win. Yeah, we'll see. Toby says none were worth eating, to be honest, mate. I put them all back apart from 2. Okay, Sanjay Patel. Why is Moyes not giving Benrahma a run out even with the injuries? Well, do you know what? I'm not going to go in depth about it, but there's definitely a topic of conversation. I'd reckon still we'll cover it tonight, and if not, we'll cover something on one of the dailies soon. But Benrahma has to be. Every player's not guaranteed a spot to start, and you could question whether or not what you see when he comes off the bench has it been up to scratch. I still want to see him start, and I want to see him start a consistent run of games. But there's a time and place for that, and I don't think it was against Chelsea, to be honest, for him starting. So I'm not too sure. Let's see. Do you think, Father Snowman, Antonio will be the only backup striker next year? His injuries are the same year in and year out. Will he accept backup role on the bench? I think Antonio will accept anything that West Ham give him, and that's not a disrespect to him, but I think he loves the club. I think he's gained to love the club. He's been there for so many years. Plus, he's still got he's a few goals away from beating the record, actually being the all-time Premier League goal scorer for West Ham. Toby, I think it will happen slowly. Whoever we bring in will be Antonio's backup, but may well end up playing more than him. Don't know, mate. I really do think we have to go all out and get a couple of strikers to fit the format. However, you've got to look at other teams like Man City and the style of play that they do. They've got loads of little tricky players in their team, and that's how they build up their forward attacking options. So don't want Astra again. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody does, Tony. Antonio can only be back up next season. We can't rely on him to stay fit. Seisman, I love Antonio. I say this with a heavy heart. Antonio injured too much. At 31, it's not getting easier. Even fit Antonio wrapped in cotton wool. Sell him, but replace him with a 20-something Antonio. And Seisman, it's funny because I think we won't sell him. I think he'll be at West Ham for the next couple of years. But there are players out that show you the style of play that what Moyes wants, hard-working players. Player like Edouard from Celtic, and there's other players out there that we definitely need to have a look at and see what's there. Oh God, there's so many comments, and the whole point of these shows is to be short and sweet. Where are we? I can't even actually find the comment. There's so many. Is 31 considered old now? Hopefully not, Sabina, because if it is, then, I mean, listen, let's be honest. whatever Stell's age is considered old. So just go and ask Stell what age he is. Who wants a hoodie update? I'd really like a hoodie update. Honestly, Toby, I don't know what Stell's doing, mate. He's an absolute disaster. Meeting Anton again is like meeting the odd cousin in the family that you'd rather not invite to a family do. Yeah, okay, Stell. Yep, granddad. The bond between you and Anton is unbreakable, isn't it, Sabina? Isn't it? He's just obsessed. It really is. Laugh out loud. It's really not. Steve Helson up the boys. Patrick Walsh played the whole season without a true striker. Don't worry about it now. Loads of people talking about the spanner, and you've adapted to your new name. Toby's new name. Hope you're okay, mate. I feel bonus filled Antonio's boots. Wheel the doing and the hard bits and the fluffing the finished boots of Antonio do the 5. Still, we can never divorce West Ham, so us fans are all stuck together forever. We are. Fox's Arms, all right, Anton. Afternoon. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us. Hope you're well. And yeah, you've got plenty of games. Get your comment in, Jamie. Let us know your thoughts and your running to the end of the season, because even though you've got a little bit of a gap opened up between ourselves, you've got tough games coming up, and you've also got an FA Cup final as well. So it's going to be an interesting for us. Good for us that Burnley won. Hope they chill out a bit now. Same with West Bromwich Albion, hopefully down already when we play them. But sometimes that can not work in the way that we think. Fox's Arms, which is Jamie from Leicester Fan TV, 3 points for us tonight and 7 points clear of West Ham. It's crazy, isn't it, Jamie, though, like how things have changed. You know, there was a time a couple of weeks ago when we had you guys on our channel, we were on your channel, and we were talking about a win for West Ham would bring us to within a point of Leicester, and we got to within a point of yous, and then we had the option to overtake yous and go 2 points ahead, but we fluffed it, and it didn't work, and obviously the game against Chelsea didn't help us either. So things will change, and I don't doubt for a second, with 5 games to go for the race for the top 4 hotting up, I don't think it's going to be as easy as anyone. Yeah, and Toby makes a valid point here. If you'd have said that to me 10 months ago, I'd have laughed at you. Absolutely, 100%. And then Peach is saying we're going on a European tour. Could you imagine it? Could you imagine it? West Ham fans going on a European tour, no matter where it is, no matter where or who the opposition is, the fact that we're playing in Europe, and it'll just have a different vibe this time because we've come off a really good season with, and I have to say it, we've came off not just a good season, but prior to the end of last season as well, we're performing consistently, and that's the positive sign. So that there it is there. Again, so many comments coming in. Palace, Southampton, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, Spurs, last 6 games. GP, we have a small squad. Moyes got to win manager of the season, 100%. He's got to be up there. We need Rice and Chris back in mass, so we have options. The Fox's Arms 3 wins should get us third. Should, but you never know. We'll see. And Spurs do it for your Hammers pals, Jamie. Injury news will be updated tonight. As Stell will be doing the West Ham weekly. Anyway, that comes to an end. Your West Ham Daily. We have 5 Cup finals to play to try our best to qualify for some European Cup. For the Champions League. However, spots have opened up lower down the league for European Cup, some cup competition qualification, and it just depends on what West Ham. And this is where I put it down to. I genuinely put it down to that. What West Ham will turn up, what David Moyes will turn up, and what players we've got fit. 3 really key factors. If we have relevant players fit, we've got options. Will David Moyes go defensive or will he go attacking? And lastly, and that will then affect on will we sit back and will we go at teams? Because if we go at teams, we know we can turn up on the day. If we go defensive, it invites the opposition onto us, and that's where we kind of start to crumble. Anyway, for me, it's all in or nothing. I want the Champions League. The Champions League is the thing for me. So keep your comments coming in and let us know your thoughts on it. Thank you very much for joining us on the West Ham Daily. Tonight, you've got Stell's West Ham Weekly. Again, I'm not sure what time, but he normally aims for anything between 8 and 9. So just keep your eye on that. And yeah, he'll cover injury news and look at all the stuff of the past week, etc. And then tomorrow we'll be back with another West Ham Daily. And then tomorrow evening we'll be back with another player ratings from the Chelsea game as well. We thought we were going to change it to a Sunday, but we're going to stick with the Tuesday up until the end of the season and review it for the next season as well. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Come on, you Irons.